London has been burning for 3 days. But it's now spreading rapidly across the country. As rioters brazenly loot and torch businesses in areas that have never seen such unrest.
I was on a day off and just literally cutting the grass when my wife walked up the garden with my BlackBerry. I answered the call and the message was basically, "We're getting now, we need you."
Stay away from the police stops!
We came under fire immediately from, bricks, bottles, all sorts of stuff. And we spent, a good amount of time there trying to disperse the crowds.
Some of the police officers were literally shaking. I mean, shaking from head to toe. And young men, no older than early 20s, throwing stones at them. Power between the local young men and the police was a really big issue. There was already a lot of conflict there, and this was the perfect opportunity to let all your frustrations out.
Come on, move on.
Certainly the intention appeared to be that they wanted to hurt the police.
If you talk to the kids who were involved, they will tell you that they'd had a lot of bad experiences with the police and with austerity and the cuts and God knows what. They were angry about their situation, about what was going on. That's how it looked to me.
I was moved to the city centre and, this is where it differed to Salford. These were people turning up, seeing what they could get away with, perhaps committing acts of wanton damage and, looting because they thought they could get away with it.
Whereas the Salford riot was much more political. I think what was going on in Manchester was much more materialistic. I think people were seeing an opportunity to get designer clothes or whatever it was they were nicking.
This wasn't a protest about what had or hadn't happened in London. This was just wanton violence, and people clearly got braver and braver when they saw, that we were outnumbered.
By nightfall, anarchy has spread to cities across England, including Liverpool, Manchester, Salford, Bristol, Leicester, and Birmingham. Police forces are stretched. Many officers have been deployed to London. Shopkeepers are relying on locals to defend their businesses.
I'd watched the pictures on TV. Before I knew it, the riots had come to Birmingham. And Haroon, the youngest, was with me that day. We came home, large crowd outside the house. And so what's going on? And they said, look, the looters have been here. And we know that you're a family of boxers, you and your sons are both boxers. Would you stand with us? And we'll defend our shops and our homes. And I said, certainly, I'm part of the community. I'll stand with you. I'll get the boys to come and join us. Things had really picked up. There was fires on Soho Road in Birmingham.
Tariq's son Haroon is still protecting local businesses late into the night. CCTV cameras capture gangs in the area.
This group of 3 vehicles turned up with this crowd standing on both sides of the pavement. But the 3rd vehicle, he came charging up. Clearly, he left his lane and deliberately aimed for the 3 men. They were struck over 60 mile an hour speed. All 3 men were thrown up in the air. They came down. I heard the impact. I was standing there with my eldest, and like we knew, He looked at me, I looked at him, and we both sprinted. I gave him a yank to turn him over to see. And as I did, the image is fresh in my mind. I saw the clean face of my son. Immediately, I tore his shirt, put my ear on his chest. No heartbeat, no breathing. I knew that I couldn't save him. He had too many internal injuries. There was nothing I could do for him. What runs through your mind at the time is, Lord, don't take him. That was probably the hardest moment and the toughest moment of my life.
The 3 men are taken to hospital in the early hours. Riot police guard the entrance as friends and relatives wait for news. The incident is being described as a racist attack.
6 a.m, the doctor came back in the room. And I realized straight away he was gone. I wanted to punch holes in that wall. I went back to him. Whispered a prayer in his ear. Sorry to him. Couldn't save him.
On this street, police have been testing conditions as part of their murder investigation. In the early hours of the morning, a group of men were standing here to protect their businesses from looters. 3 of them were killed after a collision with a car.
After 4 days of rioting across the country, Birmingham is now a city grieving.
I had to face the crowds and the media. What do you say when when you've just lost your son? And my mind was all over the place.
Today we stand here to plead with all the youth to remain calm, for our communities to stand united.
You have to understand that the local community is upset. I need to make sure my community don't take any steps to worsen the situation,
I lost my son. Blacks, Asians, whites, we all live in the same community. Why do we have to kill one another?
His speech at the time was heartbreaking, but he wasn't a police officer talking. This wasn't a politician. This was a dad who loved his son.
Why are we doing this? I lost my son. Step forward if you want to lose your sons. Otherwise, calm down and go home. Please.
It was very brave of him, and I think that was a big turning point in terms of stopping the dissent.
This wasn't fun anymore. People were dying. People had lost their lives because of rioting. I think people realised that this is not really something I should be getting involved in.
That night remains largely peaceful across the country. Parts of England experience heavy rain, and police flood the streets. The focus over the coming days and weeks turns to bringing people to justice at unprecedented speed. Politicians are determined to make an example of the rioters.
The courts were exceptionally busy. It was like a conveyor belt towards prison. The type of cases I was doing around the riots were those who were charged with violent disorder or robbery. CCTV evidence was crucial because there are cameras everywhere, and they were able to track movements of individuals going from one street to another.
There were quite literally van loads of suspects taken into the courts, which were almost running 24 hours.
Swift justice didn't always equal good justice. There was a general feeling amongst the bar that the sentences that were going to be passed down were going to be greater than what one would normally expect.
I was arrested for violent disorder. I get to court and the judge says, I'm going to give you a year for each bottle that you threw. They've got a 17-second clip and they've got me throwing 2 bottles. The judge gives me a year for each bottle. At the time, he did say that if it wasn't the riots, then I would have got a slap on the wrist. So I do think that it was a little bit harsh.
There were people at the time who criticised some of the sentencing, saying they were much harsher penalties than people would normally get for these sorts of crimes. I'm not among those who think that. I think the penalty should have been very harsh because you need to send out a message that you're not going to get away with it. It would take months to work through all the cases. Among those sentenced was a millionaire's daughter, convicted for her role as a getaway driver for looters. And a student, with no criminal record, was jailed for 6 months for stealing a bottle of water.
There were a large number of individuals who had never been in trouble before and were facing severe consequences for making a mistake on a particular day.
It was shocking to see the age of some of the people.
Why didn't you know where your son was? What you know?
I mean, some were even younger than teenagers.
We were contacted to say that an 11-year-old and a 13-year-old boy had been arrested and, I guess, charged as having been part of a group of people that broke into our shop. And then we received a letter from the parent of that child who was raising the child by herself, and it was a struggle. At that point, I wasn't angry at the child, I wasn't angry at the parent, it was just all unfortunate.
There are pockets of our society that are not just broken, but frankly sick.
If there is sickness and broken communities in this society, then isn't our job to try and support and help them? The system's sick because it doesn't seek to help and support the most impoverished.
Courts across the country would ultimately convict more than 2,000 people. The average sentence was 17 months. But those who stood trial for the murder of Haroon Jahan, run down in Birmingham, were found not guilty. An investigation said mistakes were made by the police, but no action was taken against the officers.
I've been asking ever since for a public inquiry from the government. I've been down to 10 Downing Street. I've sat there, tea and biscuits, lots of words, but no results. Nothing's happened.
It was the death of Mark Duggan, shot by police during a surveillance operation, that sparked the riots. An inquest was held in 2013.
Did Duggan have a gun in his hand when shot? No. So when we heard that in the inquest, it's like, we've won. If he didn't have a gun in his hand, the next question has to be, was he lawfully killed? And then they said yes. That's perverse.
A gun was found at the scene. The jury concluded Duggan must have thrown it out of the taxi when it stopped. While there were police failings, officers on the day believed Duggan was a threat to life. The Independent Police Complaints Commission investigation found officers had no case to answer.
No officer steps out at the start of the day to run an operation.
Mark was executed. He was executed, and we still believe that.
Mark was breaking the law, there's no doubt about that. Arrest him and send him to prison, that's what they're there for. And he'll be out by now. No one would have known his name. Tottenham wouldn't have burnt, London wouldn't have burnt, England wouldn't have burnt, and we wouldn't be here today. I wish Tottenham hadn't have burnt down. But riots are the voice of the voiceless.
For me, 11 years on, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Large-scale rioting might occur again. There's a cost of living crisis. All it takes is a spark.
There are a lot of very angry people, a lot of very disillusioned people who feel that, the authorities aren't on their side. And we've still got a vastly undermanned police service, and out-of-touch police chiefs. I would say also pretty out-of-touch politicians as well. You think that was a one-off? No, it could happen tomorrow night.
Poverty, deprivation, people feeling that they're not part of society. This is a cocktail that's dangerous, and it could turn into a Molotov cocktail.
We didn't want to burn down the community. We didn't want to burn down local shops. The motive was just to be heard. I still go to my local estate, and the same conversations that was happening before the London riots are still happening. So if it was to happen again, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't take part in it, but I wouldn't be surprised.